Well, yes, see, as house detective, I couldn't help overhearing. Do you want to hear the story about the ghost in room 616?
Yeah.
Me too.
Hotel sitcoms had a big moment in the early 1980s, and The Jeffersons was at its peak. But when Florence moved upstairs to star in her own show, things didn't go as planned. These are the top 10 reasons Checking In fizzled out, from creators' choices to backstage chaos. Number 1, the spin-off lacked its own identity. Let's go back to the spring of 1981, when TV fans expected big laughs just about every night. CBS launched Checking In, a spin-off from the beloved sitcom The Jeffersons. Front and center was Florence Johnston, played with electric charm by Marla Gibbs. The concept: Florence leaves George and Louise to manage the housekeeping staff at a fancy New York hotel. On paper, it sounded like pure gold. A classic character, a zany setting, and the same sassy humor you'd come to love. But something was missing. Checking In leaned too heavily on the old tricks that made the Jeffersons shine, instead of finding its own heart. The hotel never felt as lived-in as that iconic apartment. The jokes, though familiar, rarely felt fresh. Audiences tuned out quickly, and after just 4 episodes, the show was canceled. By May 1981, Florence was back at her old job. Sometimes comfort isn't enough. You need a reason something feels special. And for Checking In, lightning simply struck once, never twice. Let's step into the next room and see what the sitcom world tried next. Number 2, Florence Johnston was too iconic to spin off. Laughter echoed through every episode of The Jeffersons, and at its heart was Florence Johnston, sharp-tongued, endlessly watchable, played by Marla Gibbs. She was the queen of cold comebacks, tossing zingers from George to Mother Jefferson, but always from the sidelines. In 1981, CBS rolled the dice with Checking In, Florence's own spin-off, putting her front and center as the manager of a New York hotel. The formula was different, and so was the magic. Audiences missed Florence trading barbs in the familiar Jeffersons apartment. The new setting stretched her from witty sidekick to full-time problem solver, and it just didn't land. Checking In fizzled after just 4 episodes, gone before spring was half over. What made Florence unforgettable could never quite be the focus. Sometimes a dash of brilliance is better than the whole recipe. As quickly as she left, she was back on The Jeffersons, slinging one-liners where they landed best. It was a lesson in how the right room and the right audience keeps the spark alive. Number 3, critical reception was lukewarm. Opening night in 1981 should have marked a new beginning for fans of Florence Johnston. Instead, Checking In faced an uphill climb the moment early reviews hit the papers. Critics liked Marla Gibbs' signature wit, but they hammered the show for its lack of originality and heart. The Jeffersons had thrived on sharp banter and unforgettable clashes, but the new hotel setting just could not recapture that same lightning-in-a-bottle jokes about missing towels and fussy guests simply did not stack up against George Jefferson's legendary rants. Reports from publications like TV Guide and the New York Times labeled the show tired before it had a chance to find its footing. Viewers called it flat, and word of mouth spread quickly. The momentum that carried the Jeffersons on CBS from 1975 all the way into the 80s just was not there for Checking In. Back in 1981, television lived or died on buzz and connection. Both were missing here. Stories like this remind us that in sitcoms, magic is never guaranteed. Number 4, creative uncertainty behind the scenes. A show is only as strong as the vision behind it, and Checking In is the textbook example. This 1981 spin-off from The Jeffersons followed Marla Gibbs as Florence Johnston, trading familiar banter for a bustling hotel backdrop. But even Marla's comedic magic couldn't steady the ship. Early scripts tussled between snappy workplace comedy and a quirky, character-driven ensemble, giving audiences whiplash from week to week. Some episodes leaned hard on staff shenanigans a la Taxi, while others tried for social commentary or heartfelt moments. The writers and producers never quite agreed on the heart of the show. Was Florence the center, or just a quip machine orbiting others? CBS aired Checking In for just 4 episodes before awkwardly pulling the plug and sending Florence back to the Jeffersons. Fans noticed, when energy feels scattered, the laughs never land quite right. It's a reminder that consistency is the secret ingredient to any great sitcom recipe, especially when you're building something new from familiar roots. Number 5, tough time slot competition. The whir of the primetime battleground could make or break a show in an instant. When CBS launched Checking In, a spin-off from The Jeffersons, in April 1981, the ambition was there, but the schedule spelled disaster. Checking In followed Florence Johnston, the beloved Jeffersons housekeeper played by Marla Gibbs, as she began a new chapter working at a Manhattan hotel. But right out of the gate, the show went head-to-head with ABC's Mork and Mindy and NBC's Taxi, both already fan favorites with devoted audiences. With Robin Williams cracking wise as Mork and Judd Hirsch steering his Taxi crew, viewers had tough choices at 8 p.m. The ratings for Checking In were icy cold from the start. After just 4 episodes, CBS pulled the plug, sending Florence back to the Jeffersons. One bad time slot had erased months of planning, reminding us how a simple calendar entry could decide a show's fate. Sometimes the best character in the world can't outshine a crowded lineup. As the neon lights on the network's schedule dimmed, another chapter of TV history slipped quietly away. Let's pause for a second. Did you ever flip channels back and forth just to catch 2 favorite shows at the same time? Which battles for the remote do you remember most from your household? Number 6. Florence's abrupt return to the Jeffersons. The sound of Florence's sharp wit bouncing around the Jeffersons' living room was as familiar as a worn recliner. But for a brief moment in 1981, she was gone, off to headline her own show, Checking In, a spin-off that saw Marla Gibbs' beloved housekeeper become the head of housekeeping at a Manhattan hotel. Fans tuned in with hope, eager to see Florence shine, yet Checking In was canceled after just 4 episodes. That's right, barely a month after it started, the network pulled the plug. When Florence reappeared on The Jeffersons, there was barely a nod to her adventure. No dramatic homecoming, no meaningful change. Her absence and sudden return felt like someone had simply hit the undo button on the remote. The abrupt flip-flop not only puzzled loyal viewers, it erased what could have been a lasting new chapter for Florence. As the laughter kept rolling inside that iconic high-rise apartment, you were left to wonder if her spin-off was just a strange dream, best left forgotten. Number 7. Ratings plummeted fast. The excitement was real when Checking In, a Jeffersons spin-off, burst onto CBS in April 1981. Marla Gibbs brought her sharp wit and charm back as Florence Johnston, this time running the housekeeping staff at the elegant St. Frederick Hotel. But despite the Jeffersons' loyal following, Checking In didn't get the honeymoon period everyone hoped for. Just 4 episodes in, Nielsen numbers hit rock bottom. Viewers weren't connecting and plot lines barely got off the ground before CBS pulled the show, leaving fans hanging mid-story. There wasn't time for characters to find their groove, and without a built-in audience, the show became a blink-and-you-miss-it memory. It was a fast, hard lesson in just how quickly network TV could turn clashing numbers into cancellation. But as the credits faded, Florence's warm-hearted sass still lingered, reminding everyone that sometimes a short run leaves the sharpest echo. Number 8. Weak supporting cast. Introduction. When Checking In spun off from the Jeffersons in April 1981, fans had high hopes for Florence Johnston's next chapter. Instead, they found themselves dropped into the unfamiliar St. Frederick Hotel, where the main draw was already clear. Marla Gibbs as Florence, sharp-tongued and beloved. Around her, new faces like Lyle Block and Earl Bellamy stepped forward, but the audience couldn't find the same spark. Lyle, the no-nonsense manager, and the other hotel staff lacked the years of shared laughter and banter viewers craved. These introductions felt abrupt, with little time for chemistry to form. By the time anyone was starting to remember names, the series had stumbled, canceled after just 4 episodes. Checking In proved that a sitcom's heart can't beat unless its cast finds their rhythm together. Sometimes even the best sidekick can't carry all the magic on her own. And just like that, Florence was heading home, searching for the warmth only her old neighbors could offer. Number 9. Loss of the Jeffersons' chemistry. The clink of glasses and Florence's razor-sharp comebacks were the lifeblood of the Jeffersons. But in 1981, when Florence Johnston spun off into her own series Checking In, something vital was lost. Marla Gibbs took her beloved maid character to run the housekeeping staff at the St. Frederick Hotel, stepping front and center. Yet viewers quickly realized Florence was funniest when sparring with George and Louise in their Manhattan apartment, not surrounded by strangers whose punchlines never quite landed. Without the family's chemistry or her main rivals, the warmth and laughs faded. Ratings plummeted, and after just 4 episodes on CBS, Checking In closed its doors for good. Fans missed the electric energy that sparked between Florence and the Jefferson clan. Sometimes sitcom lightning only strikes in a particular living room, and no hotel lobby can replace that. Number 10. Why the Jeffersons spin-off Checking In failed. Few sitcoms shuffled the deck quite like The Jeffersons. But in 1981, CBS thought lightning could strike twice and sent Florence Johnston, the wisecracking housekeeper played by Marla Gibbs, off to star in Checking In. Florence swapped the chaos of the Jeffersons' Upper East Side apartment for the uniformed grind of a Manhattan hotel, stepping into the world of guest check-ins, cranky managers, and mysterious room service requests. Right from the start, though, the new setting boxed in the writers. Every plot revolved around hotel hijinks, staff squabbles, and lost luggage, making the episodes blend together. Fans who tuned in craving Florence's sharp wit missed the lively, unpredictable ensemble and family drama of the Jeffersons. The chemistry that made the original shine was nowhere to be found. After just 4 short episodes, Checking In checked out for good. Sometimes, no matter how beloved the character, the setting is the real star. And without the Jeffersons' apartment, even Florence couldn't keep the doors open. Next, let's see what happened when networks gambled on another limited concept,